a damn, damn, damn. Got my pocket full of sand, sand, sand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. You can read it in my hand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. Got my pocket full of sand, sand, sand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. You can read it in my hand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. Got my pocket full of sand, sand, sand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. You can read it in my hand, hand, hand. Oh, I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. Got my pocket full of sand, sand, sand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn.
Hello, hello, and welcome to Polished. My name is Jenlyn, UNBN, and I am the founder of Unique with New Beauty Norm and the creator of Avant-Garde Branding. So we had a beautiful, wonderful guest today, and her name is Desiree Goldey, and she is feeling under the weather. She is not well, and so she is resting and restoring. And she is just going to join us on another day, and when she can really be with us and be present. But we're still going to talk about DEIBA, which is what we would have been talking about with Desiree. And so welcome in. And I really want to actually start with just a little recap about a few things about myself. Some of you know that I'm a certified human and civil rights activist, right? Some of you know that I'm an ordained minister. Some of you know that I'm a shaman and a Reiki master and a ceremony and ritual expert. And today I'm going to pull some of that together, and I've pulled it together to create an experience to uplift, to encourage, and to ignite. So what does all of that mean? Well, it means that I create from the center of Wu. It means woven order of origin. Okay. It means that I burn Palo Santos. It means that I burn sage. It means that I dance underneath the moonlight and I make Ho'oponopono water in the middle of the night to daylight. It means that I listen to the trees, that I commune with the humpback whales and the crows. It means I have crystals upon my altar. It means I have a crystal that represents the globe to me that I hold every single day to blanket the earth, animals, peoples, plants, in love. It means that I have books, right, of sacred systems, right? It means that I build and I create things on sacred sustainability. I'm wearing blue today for my throat, for my voice, for the frequency of truth. And I'm going to offer this space today, both as a sacred container and for a courageous call. And that's always the case. But I want you to see that today, right? I want you to see that I have the tree of life on my walls. I want you to see that I have over here goddesses, and that I have crystals, and that I have unicorns, and all of the things that it is that I surround myself with, that's usually behind. First thing that I want to do with all of that knowledge is something that we can come together and do very powerfully. And I'm going to use two words together that have gotten a really bad rap, because some people use this detrimental. And the two words are love bomb. So I'm going to show you what a love bomb means to me. And I'm going to ask you all to join me in sending out a love bomb to Desiree for her healing, to the world, to any fawn or flora, right? Plants, animals that are ill. And so all that really is getting into this place of presence. Maybe you put a hand on your heart. Maybe you don't. It doesn't matter. It's being present. And taking a deep breath and just being in this place of knowing and in this place of presence. Picturing the person, the animal, the plant that you want to send energy, frequency, and vibration to across space and time, and allowing that to build right here. So we're going to do that. We're going to take a couple of breaths together. And I'm going to walk you through building that energy and then sending that energy out. Okay. So if you would, please join me in doing that. Just be comfortable. Breathe in through your nose, and we're going to do that. And we're going to hold at the top, and we're going to exhale. We're going to do that a few times. Okay. So inhale through your nose for 3, 2, 1, and hold for 2, 1, and exhale for 5, 3, 2, 1. And this time when we inhale, we're going to inhale with love, and we're going to hold that, and we're going to exhale with gratitude. And I want you to breathe that way in, hold, and out. And as you do, I want you to feel your heart beating underneath your hand. Ba-boom. 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 That's purpose. That's energy. That's life. And it knows no space and time. I want you to think back to a place and a time in your life where you felt so much love and gratitude. I want you to think of that time that brings tears to your eyes every time we think of it. I want you to feel that, and I want you to feel it build and expand. And breathe in with gratitude for 3, 2, 1, and hold. And exhale. And you can feel that ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom as it feels. And it feels like your heart could just overflow. And I want you to let that happen right now. I want you to let all of that energy, all that love, all that care flow out. And I want you to catch it and breathe it in, because the most important thing that we can do first and foremost is take our own medicine and receive and build that again and release again and send that out. Envision it's a blanket covering the world, covering the cosmos, covering yourself, covering sickness, covering illness, covering dis-ease, covering fear, covering hunger, covering, raining down care, love, compassion. That is my love poem. And I can promise you that if you ever think of me and you think, I almost just see Jen Lynn right now. That is why. The next words out of my mouth may seem and feel like a total contradiction, totally something to the contrary, but they are not. Anger can be positive if we use it wisely. It becomes a catalyst for right action. It is the fire that burns injustice, not the one that burns the heart. Dalai Lama. So we are going to begin today with compassionate rage. Not the kind that lashes, but the kind that liberates. Not the rage that consumes, but the rage that consecrates. There's a way to bring in dualities between our brain and our hearts and our guts. Right. So what if our fire was not dysfunction? What if it was design? We were taught to keep our body's wisdom in silos, but we are whole. Right now, right here, today, we are whole, we are holy, and we are wired for truth. The brain names the pattern and it detects the injustice. Our heart feels the ache and it carries that emotional memory. In our gut, it knows instantly and it calls a boundary forward. It grounds in courage. When aligned, we don't just feel rage, we lead with it. In the last few months, I have cried and I have cried out. I have read stories that should not be real. I have watched people beg for dignity in systems designed for erasure, and I have heard your cries too. I have heard our DEI team was disabled overnight. I have heard my neurodivergent son lost his only advocate at school. I have heard I was told I was too much again. We are not imagining this, we are experiencing it. But this moment will not break me, and it will not break you. It will not break us. We are not falling apart, we are falling into alignment. The collapse of DEIBA is not just a policy change. It is a soul summons. It's a polarization that asks, what do you stand for when the scaffolding is stripped away? We are in a fault line between dismay and discovery, dependence and dominion, despair and design. The brain under stress chooses survival mode binaries. But when we regulate and reconnect, creativity, courage, and clarity return. This is the portal of paradox, where the greatest power emerges. I choose to create. There are sacred actions of autonomy, soul-centered activations. These are not just steps. These are sacred technologies anchored in truth and rooted in liberation. Step one is to identify the source. Is this mine? Is this someone else's? Does it matter? Step 2, express safely. Let it move through movement. Let it move through your voice. Let it move through journaling. Shake your hands and roll your neck. Exhale and make space inside. Step 3 is to transform the energy. Use it. Don't lose it. Alchemize the ache. This will become beauty. Practice compassion for yourself, for others, not to excuse, but to evolve. You can inhale love and exhale shame. And we can inhale love. And exhale shame. We can take inspired action, not scrambled, but aligned. We can step forward. We can stand tall. One in front of the other, and that is sacred momentum. You are not here to survive. You are here to sculpt the sacred, to imagine, speak, build, and collaborate. What if every single breath could become a blueprint? What if everything that your hands touched and created became or was holy? What if your words could become world building? What if all of these systems that were falling away were bringing us and calling us into something different? What if we could really actually find, create, and fulfill autonomy? What if the removal of these structures forces us not into despair, but into community-rooted innovation, self-sufficiency over dependency, cooperative economics, shared resources, bartered values, narratives of radical visibility and not performative inclusion? What if through mutual aid and spiritual intelligence and grassroots brilliance, we became the very infrastructure that we are being denied? What if we stop waiting for institutions to validate our worth and instead mirror that worth in one another? Dismay is heavy, but can also be a decoy. It masks the portal. It keeps us reactive instead of reflective. It keeps us mourning instead of moving. And what if this is a moment to say, we see each other now? We build not for permission, but from purpose. We protect, we pivot, and we prosper. We are not victims of a dismantling. We are founders of new foundations. What if the very thing that came to silence us, to erase us, divide us, unname us, actually did the opposite? What if in this moment it was not destruction, but divine redirection? What if the absence of systems that saw us as checkboxes and quotas, we began to see ourselves as whole, holy, and uncontainable? We are not a program. We are not a policy. We are a pulse, and we were never meant to be included. We were always meant to lead. So what if? What if this is the moment that we stop looking up for permission and start looking around for partnership? What if we stop waiting on their table and we start building our own? What if we stopped lamenting the loss of their scaffolding and remembered that we are the architects of new worlds? Let them call it chaos and let them call it collapse. What if we called it creation? What if we seized a moment? And what if when we rose, we lifted out and reached out and we lifted everyone that was in our reach with us, not out of pity, but from power? I am, because I remember who I am, and I see and I remember who it is that we are. The foundation isn't gone because we are the foundation. They didn't give us freedom. We carved it into the soil with blistered hands and burning hearts. We found it in whispers between generations, in lullabies turned into war cries, in boardrooms where our brilliance was burrowed and borrowed but never broken. We are the ancestors' answered prayers. We are the blueprint and the wild invention. So I ask you, not with desperation, but with fire, will you rise with me? Not in protest alone, but in purpose. Not to say no to what's broken, but yes to what we can build. Will you rise in the boardroom, in the classroom, in the courtroom, in your own mirror? Will you rise in the way that you speak to your children, in the way you spend your dollars, in the way you hold space for others when the world makes them feel small? You see, they underestimate our silence and they think it means surrender, but we were never sleeping. We were seeding, and now we bloom, not just for ourselves, but for each other. This is the moment that we become economy. This is the moment that we become governance. This is the moment that we become media and medicine and art and innovation and faith and culture. This is the moment that we become the foundation, not dependent, not deferred, but defiant with love. This is our moment, and we cannot miss it. We rise, we rebuild, we remember together. Now and always. May your rage be sanctified, and may your heart stay soft. May your mind stay sharp and your gut stay grounded, and may your hands build worlds. There is not a miracle coming. It is already here. It is you, and it is me. And together it is we. We are the continuation. Hello, Nick. Hello, Aaron. Hello, Sharon and Aaron. To the rest of you watching later and or on the replay, hello. And I want to hear from you. I have created a space, a sacred circle, a collective called the Rooted Activists Keepers, for those that are tending the soul of resistance. Because what is resistance without rhythm? What is activism without ritual? What is a part? Can be brought together when it's through revolution of remembrance. So if today has resonated in any way with you, if your bones have said yes and your heart has asked for more, send me a message. This is it for us to be able to gather, not just to fight what is falling apart, but to co-create what is finally beginning. You see, 9 years ago, I stepped out on a path building for this moment, knowing that this moment was coming, knowing that when systems failed and started falling and started crumbling, that is the moment that what was being built would have the ability to move into place, that what we've all been building over the last however many years it has been that you've been building is it been built to replace what it looks like is being taken away, what it looks like and feels like is being destroyed. We are seeing things turn back by the stroke of a pen in minutes. What is taking hundreds of years to do. But I believe that because it's already been done, it can be done again, redone, bigger, better, faster, right? You are in control of you, and I am in control of me, and we are in control of we. And so to be able to sustain one another, to be able to strengthen one another, listen to one another, encourage, inspire, uplift one another, that is more important than anything right now. The call of an entrepreneur, some might say, would be this. For in this moment, we all have the ability to step into a space to meet our own needs. And the needs of our community. We are better together. We are. Mhm. Tomorrow I'm going to be speaking at a summit for women. I'm going to be talking to them about financial empowerment. I'm going to be looking them in the eye from all over the globe. And talking about the same things that I've talked about today, but in a little bit of a different way. And for those of you that need to hear it in a different way, I'm going to say it in that way too. And I'm specifically talking to women because I'm specifically talking to women tomorrow. Too many women have been told that success only comes through sacrifice. That to build wealth, to make impact, to lead, we have to hustle harder, grind louder, and become someone else entirely, right? Is that true for you? If that's been your experience, right, drop a me in the chat because I know that that's what so many of us have experienced. But I want you all to know that that is not the truth. Part of the reason that we have to hustle and that we have to grind and that we have to come together in such a way is because of what we do to each other. Even to each other, we say, and ask for discounts. Even to each other, we say, that's too much. Right? And so that hustle, that grind culture, some of, we brought and bring on ourselves. But there are ways and different ways that we can change that, right? We can make a sacred commitment to one another. Right. I will pay women what they ask on time and in full and with integrity. I will refer and uplift women's work without comparison or hesitation. I will model fairness in my own pricing partnerships. What if your most natural pace was your most sacred economy, right? Because I want you to imagine something else. What if success was never meant to come from sacrifice? What if your wholeness, your rhythm, your cycle, your soul was the actual strategy? What if your most natural pace was your most sacred economy? Would you like to know more about a system that was built around that? A system that honors you, sustains you, and brings others into healing just by your presence? You have to learn how to build on sacred sustainability, which is the boss system that I've created, right? because across the globe we hear the same story in different tongues. I'm exhausted. I'm misaligned. This isn't sustainable. And they're right, because the systems we've inherited reward urgency, and they idolize burnout, and they ignore the wisdom of our infradian cycles, our intuitive energy cycles, and our creative gestation. For neurodivergent women, creatives, and soul driven entrepreneurs, especially those rising from marginalized spaces, economic empowerment must mean more than profit. It must mean sacred sustainability. So, what does that mean to each of you? Sacred sustainability. Right? Strategy is not sacrifice. Absolutely. Absolutely. What if we owned our origins, right? What if we shaped our own sanctuaries? What if we moved within systems of woo, right? What if we did stay within a woven order of origin within ourselves? Because again, we are the holders of creation. We are the designers. We are not building empires. We are tending sacred sanctuaries of sovereignty. So it is about profit, but it's about profit across all of our needs and to all of the needs of those around us. I was talking to my son today, and he's so smart. He's so smart, and I'm so proud of him. And because I didn't know when he was growing up, we're learning together what generational wealth looks like, sounds like, feels like. And we were talking today about that. So part of that sustainability is that you have streams of income that are coming in without you having to be present. And it always just makes me think, think bigger, right? Be bigger, think bigger, be more present. Quit saying things like it's not about the money. because it is about generational wealth. And to deny yourself is one thing, but to deny your future grandchildren, children, it's not my job to tell you what the end of that sentence is. Only you can fill that in. There are a lot of secrets that a lot of people know. And those people have a lot of zeros behind their names. Not necessarily because they're selfish, not always. Before that, right? Before selfishness, before grand ideas, before all of that, there were systems that they were taught. There were systems that were taught about financial understanding. Financial understanding. What money is, how to handle it, how to attract it, how to maneuver it, how to move it, how to multiply it, how to hold on to it. It is a real need. It is. And I wrote the other day, and I'll share it too, because let me see if I can find it. La, 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 let me see. La, 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 la. Mm. La, 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 la. La, da, da. It's really funny that because I write so much, it's so hard to find things. Mm. Money is one of man's greatest inventions. But unlike other inventions, it is immaterial. It is a mere idea, an illusion of whose value exists only in the meaning we assign. Yet that doesn't make it any less powerful. If anything, its imagined nature makes it more potent, more dangerous, more malleable. It can oppress, liberate, exclude, and empower. And because its worth is constructed, we have every right and every responsibility to reconstruct it, especially for women. Because we end Women's History Month, not just by honoring those who came before us, but by widening the lens. We're not just closing gaps, we're redesigning the entire blueprint. And this is a call to reimagine value, not as a number dictated by systems that were never made for us, but as a living, breathing ecosystem of trust, reciprocity, and conscious contribution. This piece was written for the neuro icon, speaking directly to those reimagining value through neurodivergent expression. Valued because we say so, rewriting the pay narrative among women. The gender pay gap is not a myth, but it is an illusion. It is the result of a belief system upheld over time that some labor is worth more than others, that worthiness is situational, that care, emotion, intuition, and creativity are not as valuable as logic, domination, or productivity. But what if we unhooked our value from those inherited beliefs? What if women decided as a collective that we are valued because we say so? Because the truth is, many women don't just face wage gaps from institutions, but from each other. We undervalue, underpay, and undercredit one another, not out of malice, but because we've been conditioned to. Consider asking a woman-owned business for a discount, hesitating to hire a woman speaker or consultant at her full rate, choosing convenience or cost over aligned support. And these micro decisions add up. And they compound, and they send the message, you're still not worth it. But we can change the narrative systemically and personally. Value is not just given by gatekeepers. It can be declared, modeled, and multiplied by us. And this is the heartbeat of the Fair Value Pledge. And I introduced during the Women's Ascension presentation a commitment to honor each other's work, time, and gifts without diminishing or dissecting it through the lens of scarcity. The pledge centers on 3 promises. I will pay women what they ask on time in full and with integrity. I will refer and uplift women's work without comparison or hesitation. And I will model fairness in my own pricing, partnerships, and payment structures. This isn't just an idea, it's an infrastructure. Okay. Let's redefine wealth. Wealth is not just a number in a bank. It is time, attention, presence, reputation, energy, creativity, care. It's the ecosystem that we nourish when we choose to uplift, support, pay, hire, tip, refer, and collaborate with one another. And in a holistic economy, our currency is multidimensional. Our time is giving presence and mentorship. Money is paying, tipping, and investing in women without apology. Visibility is sharing platforms, tagging, and testifying. Emotional bandwidth, it's supporting each other without competition. And there is wisdom that is shared through teaching, mentoring, and making introductions. That is the currency of care. And as it flows, and when it does, it fills the gaps that institutions won't. This is also about recognizing the full arc of our contributions, not just what is billable, but what is brave, not just what is marketable, but what is meaningful. In my Women's Ascension presentation, I call this the sacred loop of value, where giving, receiving, acknowledging, and honoring are all equal parts of an economical experience. We have always been architects of value, from Madam C.J. Walker, the first self-made woman millionaire, to modern-day leaders like Arlen Hamilton and Rachel Rogers. Women have always built financial futures from the margins, and they didn't wait to be invited. They declared their worth, built their systems, and they opened the door. And we also see quiet revolution, women forming mutual aid circles, queer and BIPOC-led collectives redistributing resources, community care funds, women-ran VC firms, and micro-grant networks. This value is activism, and it's how we transform illusion into impact. So once again, to rewrite the ending, you have to decide that the future is a decision. And you are the architect of your value. In a world that profits from your doubt, knowing your worth is a radical act. So let's not wait for the system to close the gap. Let's become the system that seals it shut. And let us remember our worth It's not up for debate. It is a circle. It is a current. It is 360 degrees, and it is ours to claim. So I'm claiming mine, and I am claiming yours. And I thank you so much, Sharon, for sticking with me through to the end of this conversation and enacting. And I'm going to go out on a limb to say that you're the only one that stayed past my few minutes of speaking. And so I thank you very much for that, my friend. And we will see all of you next week. Do not forget that next week is my very last polished. Yeah, it is a very last polished. I am launching something called N-Gen to Heart. And it is going to be aired on YouTube only. And I will let you know. I will let people know here on LinkedIn when that is, but it will only be aired on YouTube. And it is not a live stream, and it is not a podcast, and it is not a show. It is an affinicast, and I can't wait to share that with you and what all of that means. So just be looking out for little bits and pieces of things. And next week, I will have the lovely Nick and the guiding, brilliant writers publisher, and I will have the wonderful, grand Leslie Flowers with her, and we'll be talking and speaking about Leslie's beautiful world that she has created and how you can enjoy that beautiful world, and what's in the future for the great Leslie Flowers, and what's in the future for Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing. We'll all find out next week, right here, same place, same time, 5 Central, 6 Eastern, 4 Mountain, and 4 Mountain and 3 Pacific. See you all then. Bye.